Welcome to the season finale of This Week in Indies. It's been an awesome one. We've been doing some writing, editing, and marketing and talking to you all about it here. From AI to strikes to con going and selling to our own peace of mind and safety, we look back at the year it's been. And we'll look forward to how we're going to foster our independence in the rest of 2023 with our roundtable discussion panel. And then C.L. Cannon will be along with indie books you might enjoy if you're a fan of The Indie Connection. So sit back, relax, grab a cup of coffee, and finish out the rest of this season with us here today on This Week in Indies with your host, Joe Compton. Hey everybody, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever you are, wherever you are. We're happy you're here. Thank you so much for joining us and welcome to This Week in Indies. Yes, it is our season finale, and then we're going to take a little break for the summertime, and well, some of us are going to take a break for the summertime, and then we'll be back in the fall. But it's so nice to have you all here with us. The chat is insane right now. I don't even know if I can go through all of it. That might take the entire show up, which might be good because I think we're all a little bit tired. But that being said, I have a wonderful group with me here. Look at this wonderful dais. Unbelievable. All right. Let's just have everybody introduce themselves, and then we'll get to chatting about 2023 so far and beyond. So, Madilynn, start us off, please.
Hey guys, and I'm Madilynn Dale, the chapter goddess. Check out my stuff, the website. I'm kind of taking a break as I am early prepping for shows in the fall. So yeah, this is gonna be a fun chat because you guys know we like to chat.
Nice. All right, Venessa.
Hey y'all, I'm Venessa Giunta. I write urban fantasy with horrific elements. I'm also a freelance fiction editor, and I am the host of A Conversation and a Cocktail here on Go Indie Now.
Which is not taking a break this summer. Here, doing some summer shows. Speaking of summer shows, we have Mr. David Green.
Hello, thank you for reminding me that because I almost would have forgotten. I'm David Green. I write this series, which is epic fantasy, which is I'm working on the last one today. I'm right at the very end of the last book in the series, and I'm working on it today. And I also do this little series as well, which is urban fantasy, which there's just this one so far. And also, I am the host of the Green Room on the Go Indie Now network, which is also staying around this summer.
Yep, we've got a couple good shows ahead for everybody. Mr. Estrada.
I had a strong cup of coffee, so I'm feeling the indie in my chesticles. I feel the indie in the right hand. I feel the indie in the left hand. I even feel the indie in my feet because I'm indie. I'm your resident Puerto Rican.
With that coffee.
At Go Indie Now, I'm also a double of bananas, and I have more props than you can imagine, but I already used all of them. My name is JD Estrada. I'm from Puerto Rico. I decided to move to Atlanta so I could see the worldwide live premiere of The Walking Dead a couple of years back. Do not recommend it. I write urban fantasy, middle grade, nonfiction, poetry, horror en español, and a partridge in a pear tree. And for Go Indie Now, I do indie video game reviews, indie music reviews, and whatever my health permits.
You hosted a couple This Week in Indies this year so far. And certainly not last but least, but I don't know.
Last but not least.
Words are hard.
Thank you. It's the amazing Miss
I promise
Courtney
we all
Cannon.
write books.
Words are so hard.
I am C.L. Cannon, aka Courtney Cannon. I do a lot of things here on Go Indie Now, like the Indie Connection, the monthly marketing tip, and I'm on a lot of these shows. Also, in my spare time, I write YA, fantasy, and sci-fi. And then I also have Fiction Atlas Press, which is my publishing company. We put out 2 anthologies a year. We still have an open call for Fate's Design that will benefit To Write Love on Her Arms, which is for suicide prevention. So we've got until August 31st to get submissions in for that. And you can find that on fictionatlas.com.
Awesome. everybody go check that out if you want to get into an awesome anthology. That sounds amazing. Speaking of amazing, people breaking the fourth wall today. Boom. You know, Jessica Nettles is here. Hi, Jessica. So nice to see you. Um, yeah. I'm just gonna go through these. I don't even have the energy to read them. It's been a week, y'all. So sorry if I'm
It's
a
been
little.
a year, y'all.
Right?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
It is a good looking crew.
Ooh.
We're very happy to have everybody here. Thank you. AF Stewart is here. Miss Alicia's here. I don't know if JD saw that comment, but I posted
He
that a
did.
little bit earlier.
He saw it.
Yeah, there you go. And there's Mark and Ty, and Rebecca's here. Hello, Rebecca.
Ooh,
Hey yo.
Yeah, nice crowd going.
yeah.
All right, so let's not disappoint them and actually speak. So this year has been interesting. I mean, it's been a long one. It's been it's yeah, it's been something. I was thinking about when we were talking about 2023 and the optimism we had with it. I think at the end of 2022, when we talked about it at the end of the year, um, we were looking at certain things that actually did come to fruition. AI. Cons being a little bit more prevalent this year was something that we talked about, and then of course peace of mind and safety are always on our agenda, and self-care and those things are important, and we talked a little bit about that this year. Is there something that has stuck out to you so far this year that you kind of it's kind of taken you over a little bit, or as kind of you've been following a little bit long, stronger than you might have not have if it hadn't happened this year?
There's been a number of authors behaving badly.
Yes.
Like took up a whole lot of bandwidth
Yeah.
this year. Well, JD's version of badly is great.
My misbehaving is fun. There's some people that are just absolute pricks.
Yes. So, there have been a couple things along those lines, and I don't want to get into specifics, but it feels like, that happens from time to time all the time, right? Because people are people, right? But it seems like there have been a lot more authors behaving badly this year than there had been in the last couple years. So,
or maybe it's just they've been brought to light more.
Well, yes, but there was the woman who faked her death, and the catfishing thing, and there were multiple in a shorter time span than I'm used to, I guess.
Yeah.
So that was one of those things I didn't predict at the beginning of the year.
And I think that's a product of us becoming who we are at this point, in terms of indies are becoming more prevalently part of this, part of the conversation, and we're all aiming toward a certain level of professionalism that we've been aiming for, and trying to garner respect. And these things happen when you have that, when you get to those next levels, those things start to uncover themselves and unravel a little bit, I think.
Or when you just have humans.
That's true. Yeah.
I think as well as that with some of these things, it's people becoming all across the board a little bit more understanding of people that are different to themselves. Like there was one of these things that have happened recently where, and it was kind of disappointing that there was some reaction of like, oh well, it's one of those things. But then there was a lot of a kickback against it where it's like, actually no, it isn't one of those things. This is deeply troubling and concerning. And it was probably, maybe if it had happened 5 years ago or 10 years ago, there wouldn't have been that level of understanding from people that it didn't necessarily affect, which I think is why it's a good thing that that people are told, like, what behavior is appropriate and what isn't, and people are quick to do it in the community these days, which is a good thing.
I also asked myself if anyone misbehaves they said that no publicity is bad publicity. And I don't know if people do awful things. It's like, well, people are going to be talking about me. And it's like, Yeah, I've heard that as long as I've been alive. I've never agreed with it, even though there is some truth with it. But still, some people, it almost seems they're being callous and just mean and awful by design. It's like, well, at least they're going to be talking about me. And I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like the blowback for a few of them, I think if they were thinking, oh, at least they'll be talking about me, it didn't work out the way they anticipated. So
I think one of the things that surprised me about this year was that I know I think I was on the one at the end of the year where we talked about things to look out for, and obviously AI was talked about, and but I'm kind of surprised with just how quickly it's become such a massive problem, and across all spheres of creativity. So obviously the first thing that kind of came up was the cover creation, which a lot of people were rightly concerned about. And then obviously with Chat GPT or whatever it's called, with people writing and using it writing, and now there's people that are uploading AI written books and buying bots to read them on Kindle Unlimited, so they go up into the thing. But then it's affected. I mean, the writers' strike and the SAG strike is mainly driven. Streaming is a big part of it, but a huge part of it is driven by AI. Yep. About how we're going to regulate AI, and to the point where it's and you have this dichotomy of creatives being worried about it and business people not, because one of the things I believe the reason why SAG broke off talks with the corporations was because they were like, we want to scan jobbing actors' faces so we can use them as AI performers in the background and just pay them as the daily rate. And thinking that's just an utterly okay thing to do.
No, it was spectacular. It wasn't okay. It was a spectacular proposal. It's like,
and they're so surprised that actors are like, no.
Yeah, and it's that thing. It's where it's and you can see it across, and I can see, even in a smaller kind of sphere of things. I mean, in there's a couple of groups that I'm involved in, and of writers, and the ones that I know all writing that when you're self-published and everything like that, and even indie and traditionally published, a part of it is a business. You have to look at it as a business. But the ones that are kind of more business orientated are kind of like, oh, AI is fine, it's a tool, let's use it. And the people that are more creative orientated are like, no. And you can see that completely with the strikes, where it's got all the creators are on one side saying, this is terrible, we need regulations, we need to know what you're going to do with it. And then the corporations are like, this is great. We're going to save loads of money with this thing. So it's just, just in the last 6, 7 months, 8 months, it's just become just prevalent across all creativity.
I just read an article this morning that there's an outshoot of Chat GPT that is being created for malware users, and which is very, very disturbing. So, I mean, I just read that article this morning. So.
Now, I saw a chart a couple of years back. I forget what the topic was it was about, but it was about the use and prevalence of AI, and it was gonna start, and then it was gonna shoot, and I think we're in that upward tick, and people go, oh, it's out of control, and I'm like, 2024 is gonna be fun, buddy.
It'll get worse. Yeah, I was just somebody just posted an article to the Writing Tribe about traditional publishers are now putting in their contracts that they want access, they want to be able to take the manuscript the contract is for and feed it into AI. They want that ability, right? There's
the correct response to that is
it was a TikTok. It was a TikTok article. Yeah.
Talk about losing your rights, man.
Yeah. So.
See, I do see some side of the point where people are like, you can use it like a tool, you can use it for writing blurbs, and you can use it for writing, blog posts and newsletters and all this kind of stuff. And, at the end, as it is at the moment, it doesn't create things. It's just kind of taking things, and it's plagiarizing stuff to an extent, because it's having to pull from somewhere, but it's not specifically creating something. And I think as long as it's you're using that not to sideline someone, I don't see it as a problem. But then there is this point where it is with this thing that all the studios wanted to do to sideline jobbing actors by just we're going to scan your face and pay you $1,000, and that's it, and I'm just going to use your face forever on background performers, so we don't need extras anymore. And it's like, that's not morally right. It's you're just completely taking away someone's worthwhile, and these and that's where it becomes more than a tool. It becomes something that's quite nefarious and dangerous. But again, the actual thing itself isn't. It's the people that are using it and what they're using it for is the problem.
Yeah.
Something that I find curious is that people have an issue with it with books, a big issue with it. People have issues with it with graphics, advertising, and just screen stuff. But with music, people are just screwing around with it. And hey, this is what Frank Sinatra would have sounded like if he did a cover of it. And it's funny, and it's memorable. But people aren't kicking back at that. And it's surprising because the livelihood of musicians has been put at stake. They've been bled dry the last decade because of streaming services, and people don't give a shit. And I go like,
but then people complain then about the price of concert tickets when that is like the main income these days,
right.
Merchandising and concerts.
The complaint with ticket prices for concerts, it's not the price, it's how much Ticketmaster is getting out of it. And it's like,
that's a whole different thing, right? That's a whole additional thing.
The bullshit fee that you exist and you want to have the right to buy a beer at a concert fee and so on and so forth. And it's not like the artist is getting the lion's share of the money. No, it's Ticketmaster. And again, gatekeepers are like as greedy as I think they've ever been. And the colors show. And I was talking with my wife, and I can't think of a CEO that is not a Bezos of the life, that is not a Musk of the life, that is more hated and known by name than Bob Iger right now. And Bob Iger was already an asshole, and he's just like tripled down on it. It's like, no, I'm really an asshole.
He really went down on it this week. It's kind of like
unsure.
Yeah, it's kind of like they like to share out the crown of the most hated CEO. So it's like it must have just been his turn. They must have like a WhatsApp like group.
It's like a game of tag, right? Elon is like, tag, you're it.
It was David Zaslav the week before, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And now it's Bob Iger. So it'll be the people it'll be what's his name, the guy who's in charge of Apple or the Netflix people. It'll be them next week. They'll say something.
I mean, wait till people start having problems with the new Facebook thing.
Oh my God, that's insane! Do not
wait till that, and then Zuckerberg will be the asshole.
Don't join Threads because they want all of your data. They want data that has nothing to like. They want access to your fitness data. They want access to what websites you go to. They want when
I know how to advertise to you.
Go to install Threads and just look at the amount of access they want. And then if you want to delete Threads, if you want to actually delete your account, you have to delete your Instagram because it is connected to your Instagram.
Which is where I am.
It's not available in the EU at the minute. So luckily living in the EU because of all those data problems.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on in the chat that I want to chime in here with. This is about the AI conversation. I think this is about the jerks conversation.
This is about authors acting badly.
Yeah, people going crazy, and then at some of it, I also think that some people just don't know how to act when they become public figures. And then if Stuart says depends on what you want to be famous for, yes, I agree. And then cancel culture is working fairly well though, or
shunning
and boycotting. Yeah, and everybody's agreeing with Jessica's statement, and we're certainly a lot more willing to call people out now. Yes, and I think that's a good thing. I think our community is getting stronger because of that. So. And Rebecca says she's using AI now. Like in this chat, are you like AIing with us right now? Are you the robot, Rebecca? Say something crass so that we know it's you. People don't understand what AI is. It's a program that regurgitates. It doesn't create without a data set. It's useless.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say it's basically just a really fancy version of your text predictor when you're texting. Like that's all it is. It's a very fancy, big version of that.
And yes, isn't that part of the SAG protest now? Yes, the AI absolutely is a big part of that. Late stage capitalism, yeah. Uh-huh. We've seen this happen all over the place for a decade now. This isn't anything new. How this is going to be going on in America for at least another 100 years. I'm currently using 2 different programs for my 3rd book. Oh, Mark. Hopefully that's working out for you, man. I really do. I predict Threads is going to turn into a spam platform very quickly.
I mean, just like Twitter.
Or you know, a certain segment of our population will take it over and claim it for their own. Already is I don't want to get into politics, but you know, something political with that. I'm using a program called Speech Texter to voice write my book.
That's cool.
Saves me from typing, and then I'm taking that and copy editing it with Chat GPT.
Yeah. The already is because Threads is already getting very spammy, very spammy. It got very spammy very quick. It had a glimmer of hope for like 2 days.
All right, so
there was never any hope.
Okay, so Rebecca says I am a bot, a sexy dirty bot. So we know
Yeah, you
Rebecca.
are,
We're real
Rebecca.
Rebecca, everybody.
They're
So,
the best.
all
That's the best kind of bot.
For real.
right. Bot is built in, but recharging it's a lot more fun now.
Oh my gosh.
Awesome. Courtney, do you? Well, I already put that up.
Where's the
Madilynn?
Facebook?
I didn't do that. I did not. I'm playing with the pin. It's not me. It's not me. I'll put my hands up here.
Okay. Yeah, let me see your hands. You got this entire time. All right. Courtney, did you have anything that stuck out for you this year?
I don't know if it would be anything like.
It's okay.
It's more personal, I guess. But for me,
Okay.
I'd never been to anything but one very small con at in my hometown, and it was mostly for comics, and I got like one sale that whole day, wasted a whole bunch of money. So this year I finally got to go to Imaginarium in Washington DC, and it made me fall in love with cons, and now I'm probably going to be going into much credit card debt just to go to as many as I possibly can, because the atmosphere was so much fun. I got to meet so many people. I got to fangirl over some of my favorite authors that I was on a freaking panel with, and I was like, I'm sitting right next to her. Oh my God. So it was, so it was really fun, and it kind of got me out of my introvert bubble a little bit to get me out into the daylight sometimes, maybe next year.
I'm just saying, Atlanta in October is a really nice place to be.
I am going to try.
I also went to a first this year in Con Carolinas. That was the first time I had been there, and that was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that. That was a really good time. So.
JD,
and Puerto Rico.
that's not the only first one you've done.
That's 2023, JD. That's how horrible.
It's been a crazy year.
I actually got out of the country, everybody, and went to Puerto Rico this year.
But still a U.S. territory. You can visit us without a passport.
Yeah, it's a beautiful country. I really enjoyed it.
On my bucket list, JD. So
I had a wonderful host who helped me navigate a lot of it. So I really appreciate that. And I ate like a king, so it was very nice. So it's a very great place. If you've never been, everybody, I highly recommend it. Yeah. I highly recommend the con too. The con was
you want to mention the con's name?
The Puerto Rico Comic-Con.
Yes.
I mean, everybody here knows it, but there might not have known it. It's home, and it spoiled me, but it's kept me very real in terms of decisions that I've made to participate in other cons stateside. Just because one year I had a great year at the Puerto Rico Comic-Con, and I was coming in like, okay, it's not going to be the same. One thing is for it to not be the same. Another thing is like Courtney said, she had a rough con in terms of sales. I sold 100 books less when I did an event in Atlanta, and when it goes from okay, let's see if I can make money to wow, let's see if I can even break even, then that's when you get gun shy in terms of going to a con.
Yeah, and that's always a risk. And for me, okay, you're always going to make more money at a con if you have more to sell, right? So if you have multiple sales avenues, maybe you have standalones, maybe you have anthologies, maybe you have multiple series, you're always going to make more than somebody who only has one or two kind of sales channels, right? I only have one sales channel because I have one series and they don't stand alone. So if you're not interested in that book right there, I'm not going to tell you nothing. Right?
Also, something that I noticed stateside is that someone that was nearby, he had a really good. The guy is selling. That guy is an ace. He could just read a person very well, connect with the person, and the person end up taking several books plus swag. But going to the swag thing, a lot of people, they're not making sales with the books, but they are making sales with the swag, like big sales, like $500 a day sales that I saw. This is not hearsay. This is not speculation.
When you're talking, you're not talking about swag though. You're talking like my definition of swag is stuff you give away for free. You're talking about additional items for sale. Yeah, that's what I started doing. That's exactly what I've started doing. I now have other book related things. I sell bookmarks. I sell some pins. Cute little like cats and books pins and pronoun pins and things like that. And I find that is what takes me over to so I can break even or profit. It really is that extra stuff. When you have multiple sales points for books, if you have multiple books, multiple series, whatever, you don't necessarily need that. But if you only have a couple books, well, I mean, you may still need that, but there's less of a chance that you'll need that much to break even. It also depends on whether it's a local con or you're traveling, because obviously if you're traveling, there's going to be significantly higher costs. Even if it's a local con, if you're staying at a hotel, there's still obviously going to be a significantly higher cost.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm so glad cons have started back up. I really am. I miss them. I mean, I'm all full of anxiety about getting sick every time I go to one, but I still like it.
Hey, I went to Puerto Rico Comic Con this year. I went last year. I went to Multiverse. I was masking up all the time. Mm-hmm. And I do not want to let go of my dream as a child of being a ninja. That's it.
I mean, if you got it, you got it, right?
Did you do any cons this year, David? You did, didn't you?
I did, yeah. So cons in England are a little bit different, unless you go to like a Comic Con or something like that, which again has its own kind of pros and cons with the size of them. The pretty small. Like I went to one called Easter Con, which is the kind of the biggest, other than a Comic Con, it's the biggest sci-fi and fantasy convention in the UK. It's about 1,000 people that go to it, so it's very, very small compared to the ones in the States. And then Fantasy Con, which is coming up in a couple, where I'm doing a book launch, is about 600 people. So it's a lot smaller. And the thing is you kind of have to, I think like fairs and stuff like that are ones that are better for sales. Like I did a couple of book fairs and other things like that, or places where I was the only person selling books and did great at them because it's like there's no competition, right? It's like if you want to buy some books, it's just me. But then there's a lot of the UK ones tend to be more kind of networking kind of things. So there is like a traders hall, and there's this.
I've heard great things about the Hay Festival though. I don't know how accessible it is, or how if like someone, I want to be at the Hay Festival. It's like, yeah, this is how much you have to pay, blah blah blah. Or if it's a lot more selective.
Yeah, so a lot of them kind of curate. I can never say that word. Curate them. That's right. That sounds right. And so for example, like they might have like 10% of their table space they're going to put aside for booksellers, for example, right? And this, and then it's you kind of in there against what they think is going to bring in the most amount of people, I guess. But like the kind of ones like that are like Fantasy Con and Easter Con and Chimera, which is one that's in Edinburgh. They're mainly about networking, and they're mostly writers going there instead of readers, and you kind of just go and hang out for a few days, do panels, and there is some readers around and everything. And obviously other writers do also read, but they're very, very they're very chill. There's not really any kind of like cosplay or anything like that, or things like this. Like I was talking to my friend who was at one this last weekend in Denver, and it was like 80,000 people over the entire weekend. And it's like, yeah, that's we would never ever get anything like that apart from maybe like Comic Con once a year.
I like the smaller cons though, because I tend to sell more at smaller cons than bigger cons, mainly because you can make connections with people much more easily. And like you were saying, like there's also there's less competition, right, at a smaller con, because like at Dragon Con, like there are certain parts of the Dragon Con takes up 5 host hotels in downtown Atlanta, and like when you're in the hotel that is like has a lot of the writerly kind of stuff or the literature stuff, it's scattered, but there's a lot in one hotel. You can't spit and not hit an author, don't spit. I'm saying, but yeah, but it's excellent for networking, just like what you said. Like, so it's every con you have to make that decision, pros and cons. What you want to get out of it. I do Dragon Con purely for the networking. I don't sell. This year, I'm actually part of a group sales table that they're going to take care of all the sales. So we'll see how that goes. But generally speaking, I don't sell at Dragon Con at all. But I make tons of connections.
Yeah, it's good. It's just good to go and hang out with your friends though as well, because that's the thing with writing. This community, like going in now, is great because you get to come on and talk to people every so often, and you make friends and you do that. But a lot of it is like remote, and like writing essentially is a very solitary career, isn't it? Like you sit on your own and you type on your own, and even if you do like group writing sessions, meet up with other people in real life, you essentially sitting there in quiet, in silence, typing on your own. So it's nice just to kind of like actually meet up with people in person and just hang out, and just have fun and just see how the weekend goes. And then you might buy a couple of books here and there as well. Who knows? But it's always good just to kind of just meet up with people.
Yeah, it's always good to go in,
I heard that too. As soon as he said it's always good, that's exactly what my head substituted for whatever came out of his mouth.
It was exactly that. That's what I said.
Yeah, nice setup. All right, I think that's a good segue to set up something else. Miss Cannon, do you want to introduce this? I know I always put you on the spot, but this is a really special one this week, so
This is the best of the Indie Connection. So far we have 186 episodes, so it was really hard to just pick. I picked 5 episodes to highlight. I just kind of did a running commentary over some of it, so it's more of like an introduction, and then you can go watch the video on like my YouTube or go back to past This Week in Indies and watch them. But I think I picked 5 winners, so. Hey guys, C.O. Cannon here from Fiction Atlas Press, and today I'm going to be bringing you 5 of my favorite indie connections. Here you are, we're going to do the best of the Indie Connection. I hope you enjoy. I had to feature my children's books episode as one of my favorites because it features my youngest son, Petey, and the adorableness overload is at the max. The books showcased in this episode were Not Again, The Adventures of Brianna and Allison by Sarah Hayes, There's a Kitty in the City Doing the Cha-Cha-Cha by Susan Kinsey, Prince Martin Wins His Sword by Brandon Hale, and A Jaina the Earth Dragon, An Elemental Tale by Debbie Manber-Kupfer. This episode also includes this precious little goodbye from Petey. Bye! You tell him bye?
Bye.
The next episode I'd like to highlight is my 6 of Crows episode. If you've been following me on social media for the last 7 years or so, you probably know that I love 6 of Crows. It's one of my favorite book series, and I could not wait to share some indie comparables on this episode. It even has a cameo with my beloved Kaz Brecker custom Funko Pop. The books I featured in this video were Calculated by Nova McBee, Aquilin's Key by K.L. Harris, Thief's Covenant, A Widdershin's Adventure by Ari Marmel, and Inker and Crown by Megan O. Russell. The next episode I'd like to talk about is my House of Hollow episode. I absolutely fell in love with the haunting atmosphere of this book, so finding indie selections that were just as riveting was both a challenge and a treat. The books I selected for this video were Blue Shadows Fall by Lenore Stutznegger, Wandering Souls by Angela Van Limpet, Changeling by Matt Wazlowski, and Bones of Fairy by Janny Lee Simner. Next, I'd like to feature one of my many NaNoWriMo episodes. I've been doing these episodes every year, and it was tough to choose just one, but vain as I am, I chose the one where my hair looked the best and the covers were rockin'. This is NaNoWriMo 2020 Week 1, with some fabulous books by indie authors that were completed during NaNoWriMo and then successfully published. The books featured in this video were Queen of the Stars by Catherine Banks, Twisted by Time by R.L. Perez, Key Flame by Tallulah Lucy, and Past Legends, an Arthurian fantasy novel by A.F. Stewart, our wonderful Anita. The last episode I'd like to showcase is my Gearbreakers episode. This is an awesome book all on its own, and finding some equally awesome indie sci-fi books that were similar seriously grew my TBR. It's out of control, y'all. The books showcased in this video were Love and Chaos by Poppy Woods, Adrift in Starlight by Mindy Breyer, Skythane by J. Scott Coatsworth, and Fall of the Pathfinder by L.C. Lowe. It was so hard to narrow down just 5 episodes of the Indie Connection. I've had a wonderful time hunting down these books for you over the years, and I don't plan to stop anytime soon. I hope you'll find the time to go back and watch all 185 previous episodes now that you've watched episode 186. You can find episodes on my YouTube channel or every week on This Week in Indies on Go Indie Now. Thank you so much to Go Indie Now's Joe Compton for giving the show a home, promoting the hell out of it, and just in general being an awesome all-around good guy and friend. I love and appreciate you so much, Joe, and I know so many other indies do as well. Okay, that's all for me this week. I'll see you next season on the Indie Connection. Bye!
Thanks, Courtney. That was really nice of you at the end. I really appreciate that. And thank you for an awesome Indie Connection. That was amazing. And hopefully we'll do more of those in the future. I don't think... Do you remember what the first one was? It had to be Lord of the Rings.
Your mic's off.
Sorry. I think it was... I want to say it was a Stephen King book. I'm pretty sure.
We'll have to go back and figure that out, but yeah, I'll put all the links to the I'll put the link to Courtney's channel so you all can go check those out.
I mean, I have like 95 of all 186 episodes uploaded, so I'm trying to get them all up.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for that. That was a lot of fun. I really love that. So
I was just happy to like Photoshop you into last night. I was like photoshopping you at 12 o'clock last night.
That's awesome. Thank you. And everybody had some comments about it. Me thinks she might have been biased, but that doesn't mean she's wrong, though. To good hair and good reads. To good hair and good rights. And yay, Anita. Banana. And a little praise for me. Madilynn, we were talking about cons, and I know that was a big thing for you this year. Did you want to chime in a little bit?
Yes, I was going to try to jump in until my son started screaming again. I mentioned in our little thing that he busted his lip, and it's just me and him at home right now. So it was, he bloodied it pretty good. But this year, so I started out with a new con at the beginning of the year. I was a little bit disappointed because I didn't quite make as much, but if you guys ever want to come to Oklahoma, SoonerCon is where it's at. I got to experience the selling out of both of my book series, and it was really a strange feeling because I was just like, okay, what do I do with myself? Because I still had people coming and asking for copies of the book, and I was like, I'm so sorry, I'm completely out. But you can check my copies out from home. I had brought my little bed-raggled copy.
When you bring a QR code.
I did have a QR code and on my card. So I was like, you can check them all out here. I'm going to have signed copies available on my website. But it was just a lot of fun. And then getting to sit on the panels, they put me on a bunch of different ones for self-care. And those were very eye-opening. Wow. So, but I'm looking forward to more. And it's kind of given me more of an ideal of how many books I'm going to need for the con this fall at Multiverse, so I'm gonna double up on things, or at least the book series. So, yeah.
And I was gonna make a little announcement about that aspect of things. Madilynn has so graciously offered to give me a little corner of her table so that we will have. So if you're going to be at Multiverse, we will have Go Indie Now swag for you at Multiverse that you can pick up. So you'll be able to do that at Madelynn's table. So buy her books and then get some Go Indie Now swag while you're there. So we're real excited about that. So Madilynn, actually, you brought it full circle. You guys are so awesome as you do. I wanted to complete today's discussion, obviously looking ahead at 2023, but I also wanted to talk a little bit about, because I'm a firm believer in that you never stop learning. That's something you always pick up something. So I'll start so that you guys get a moment to think about what I'm about to ask you, which is, what is something that 2023 has taught you that you appreciate or cherish, or that you've come to realize, or it's got for you has been a better experience for that reason. And for me, something that I've been working on, for people who don't know me, I don't think there's anybody out there in this chat that doesn't know me, or here in this room that doesn't know me, but I've been working on myself for a very long time. For about 2 or 3 years, I went through kind of a metamorphosis and kind of, been working on who I am personally. And in that, I still have struggles. And so I think for this year, with all the things that we've been talking about, the one thing that I've always been an impatient person. So working on my patience is very paramount for me. And I think I've done a pretty good job of that this year. But I also really realize that the thing that really eye-opening for me is when I sit back and listen. I think, as somebody who has incredible privilege and has had incredible just overall opportunity, I think for that reason, I think it's more important for me to not be a part of the conversation as much as to listen to what is being said about those conversations and just absorb those. And for me, that came tenfold with a lot of the bad things that have happened this year. I've learned a lot about myself in having conversations with everybody about what has been going on in terms of listening, and kind of I need to really focus in on that. And that has been a very good eye-opening. So even out of the bad, something good came. And, I'm really grateful for that. It means a lot that I'm discovering that about myself, and I'm learning so much about who I am in that process. So that's for me. That's what I'm most grateful for in 2023, that I've learned the most about myself. So whoever wants to go
next, because that kind of leads into a little bit of things I've learned. I've learned you can't always trust people that you think you're friends with. And you can't always trust that they have what's best in mind for you. Not saying that about any of you guys here, just saying. But
that's a hard lesson. That's a hard lesson to learn, because it always comes with hurt.
It does. But I've also learned that working through that hurt, it can kind of make you stronger and give you a different perspective on things. And it's given me kind of an opportunity to learn more about the process of kind of like doing certain things for myself and finding other avenues of getting involved in anthologies and other things like that. So, and that I can actually be brave and do figure con stuff out on my own. So
yes, you can.
Yeah.
I'll go. So for me, I've had a very difficult year on the personal side of things. And I went through something very, very similar in 2020. And what I've learned is that in 2020, it basically like decimated me. I mean, it just like, I didn't write anything worthwhile for like almost a year. And although this time I'm still struggling with the writing, I'm not as I'm recognizing, the thing I learned is that I'm recognizing the signs of when I'm getting overwhelmed, when I'm, and some of the things that I can do to try to offset that. So like, that's what this year has been about. And also saying no, not just saying, like, I'm fine at saying no. Like, I can tell people I do not have, the spoons for that. But it's harder to say no when you want to do the thing, like when you actively want to do the thing. And I've also had to learn to do that because my spoons are more limited now than they've probably ever been, in terms of my energy, being able to expend energy. And so that's probably my biggest thing, those two things, like recognizing when things are getting too much, and also learning how to say no to things that I actually really want to do. So.
And Rebecca had wanted to chime in on this one, the conversation we were having earlier about people can even mean well, but still have the offer isn't too good for you. So.
Yeah.
And they can mean well and still suck.
Yeah, that too. David, JD, you guys want to chime in? Courtney, anybody?
Yeah. So like something that I've kind of I don't even like conscious. Well, I've been. I think a part of me was trying to like kind of change my way of thinking for a while, but I don't know when it quite happened. But it was this year. So for me, like generally, like I tend to judge my like self-worth against how other people find what my self-worth is, right? So it's like like this kind of thing of, as Vanessa was saying, of like hard saying no to people and this sort of stuff, and that even kind of extends to like things that I want to do. So like when people used to say, "Oh, why did you become a writer?" and it was like, well, I did it because like I wanted like to show my son something when I was older. That's what it was, and that is still a part of it. But before that, like, and if I was honest with myself, it's something that I always wanted to do, which I just never got around to doing. So I was talking to someone recently about like what is like success for you as a writer, and like in the past I would have always said like, well, it's successful because I did the thing that I wanted to do, which was to like have something to show my son when he's older. But then I didn't say that. I said, well, I actually want people to read my stuff, and I want to be good at it, and I want to improve at it every time, and I want each book that I write to be better than the last, which was like a completely different way of thinking for me, where it's like, I'm not doing this thing for other people anymore. I'm doing it for myself. And if people do enjoy it and they come along for the ride, and that's great. But, I want to do this thing for me, and do it for my own kind of self-worth and how I kind of view myself. So I'm not sure when exactly that changed, but I think it was at some point this year because I definitely wasn't thinking like that last year. And and it's actually quite, it brings its own kind of pressure because like you want to kind of I do want to improve. I want to be better at what I do and all that kind of stuff. But it's nice to actually it's liberating in a way of like not having to be like, well, what does this person think about this? It doesn't really matter at the end of the day. Like, it's nice when people love something that you've done, and it's nice when people feel like you have worth, but ultimately, like, you have to, I think it might be something to do with being a parent and having these conversations with my son about like, it doesn't matter it's nice if I'm proud of you, but you have to be proud of yourself and proud of what you've done. And that's kind of, reverse rubbed off on me, I suppose. So yeah, that's the thing that kind of I've kind of changed or learned in 2023 so far.
Thanks. Courtney, JD. Courtney?
Okay, I'll go. I'll spare JD. I think I am probably very similar to Vanessa and David. I for a long time, I could not say no to people. I was always taking on too much. and I have slowed down. To other people, it doesn't look like I've slowed down, but if you would see the schedule that I had before to the schedule that I have now, I have slowed down a lot. And it's okay to take time out to have a me day. If I want to chill with my kids, I'm going to do it because they're only going to be little for so long, and they'll only have these experiences with me for so long, and I can work later. As long as we have the things that we need to survive, it's not as important as I thought it was. And I don't have to take on everything, even because I have the thing with Venessa where like there's stuff I really want to do, but there's also stuff I really dread. But if somebody that is close to me is asking, I cannot say no. So I've gotten better about that and got better about scheduling out my time and not doing so much this year and trying to have a more active and present life, I want to say, and just being there for my kids, being there for my family. I did the co-op thing this year where I taught kids at co-op about writing and about art, and we did book club. And I've always been like a kid person. I relate better to kids than I do adults. I don't know if that's like the ADHD autism thing or what, but I am just better with kids, and so that actually brought some more joy to my life to be able to do that this year. And it's just this year's just about being more purposeful and having a better life that's not always crunch time all the time, hustle.
Yeah, it's a good way to go for sure.
Okay, now's my damn tech talk. It's I'm a pretty open book, but I'm a pretty open book to a certain point. After that point, very few people see my true struggles, stuff that I've been dealing with, stuff that I've been learning, stuff that I will be sharing in the near, not so near, eventually in the future. But like people in the panel, say no when you have to say no. I've had to say no to Joe a couple of times just because mentally and physically speaking, it was not a good idea to do a show or something. And because it's like, yeah, I would have done the show, but then I would have gotten messages like, dude, are you okay? And it's like, no, but I'm a dick. And I insisted that I had to do the thing. So being okay with that, and being hyper aware of how I'm doing, how I'm feeling, how everything's going. Something that I've had to relearn or properly learn. What happened there? Oh, my teenage voice. That I had to properly learn was to challenge false narratives. When it comes to self-esteem, everyone has, well, not everyone, some people really love themselves, and it's like, dude, take it down a notch. But a lot of people, and probably most people in this panel, probably one of the reasons why I love you guys, because you keep it real, are really down to earth and don't know how freaking awesome you are. But challenge the false narratives. Part of me right now, I haven't written in a couple of months. It's like, man, I've slacked off, and I've slacked off in a year that I published 2 books and I finished the manuscript for Beyond Human. But that's a slow year. That's me slacking off, and that's me sucking. And it's me having to think through and go like, I'm not having an impact or something like that. And someone in the Puerto Rico Comic Con, it was really cool because in the Puerto Rico Comic Con, to my direct life, there's an there's an author friend. Diagonally to the right, there's another author friend. In front of me, there's an author friend. Diagonally left, there's an author friend. And to my left, there's an author friend. The one that was diagonal left, I sounded super, super lovely. I bought her book because I browse, and if there's someone nearby that we click or we have a connection, I want to support. I bought the book and I was like, dedicate it and then bring it back to me because there's someone at the booth. I run back, and then she comes by the side of the booth and gives me the book. And then she says, I want you to know that part of the reason I wrote this book is because of a conversation we had a couple of years back. And I'm like, what the fuck? And she proceeded to tell me that, again, if people come to my booth to ask advice, something that's really important for me is that if someone comes, that they go motivated to do the thing. And she did the thing, and her book is next on my queue. And to know that one conversation does make a difference. And having that. So yeah, I don't matter. I don't have an impact, but someone that's super lovely wrote a book because we had a positive conversation. And yeah, I don't matter, but I gave a poetry workshop. And yeah, I don't matter, but a teacher friend of mine gave one of my books to her class to read. and I don't matter, but my poetry was read in another classroom, and they did a workshop, and then I was able to hear the students. So at one point, it goes back to, what the hell do you need to take it down a notch, be easy on yourself, and give yourself some grace.
Yeah.
And it's just relearning that, or learning that for the first time. And I've learned a lot of that, and a lot of that comes from journaling and introspection and meditation, and reading back on what you wrote a couple of months back to see where your head space was at, just to see how you've progressed. And we honestly take our progress for granted so often in so many things. And we want to do all the things. But again, I released 2 books in March. I don't recommend that to anyone. And that was also a lesson. It was a lesson that some things are going to sell on their own because it's for the right market and it's got the right cover, and etc. And some things are just as valid, and they respond to another soul well, and it's important to write that book. I think I either broke even or I'm already profiting on Penumbra, and I released it in March. That's pretty solid. With the Daydreams, I'm way off on that, but I'm proud of both for different reasons. And it's to be okay with that. And I'm not burning up the charts, but I'm doing things the way that I want to do it. It has value, it has impact, and people from time to time I see a review, and from time to time I get a message from someone saying something that takes me completely by surprise, because we're ignorant for anything that we do that's positive. So love yourself.
As somebody who was there in person, seeing it firsthand at Puerto Rico Comic-Con, watching the amount of people light up who have seen JD over the years and been to his things, not only because he wrote a book in all Spanish, which everybody lit up about that, but they were super excited because he wrote a dark book, and they were really into that. So they were really like, so you found your market space there, and they jumped on it. It was beautiful. It was really a lot of really cool conversations that I was absorbing. I didn't follow all of them because most of them were in Spanish, but I absorbed a lot of that, and I thought that was really cool to watch. Because everybody should love JD, because JD's awesome.
Yes. All of you guys are awesome and inspirational.
All right, so let me just get this out of the way. All right. So according to Rebecca, I'm going to be a booth babe or just swag, good stuff, but not as fun. And I should branch out, offering myself as a booth babe.
I don't know as much as you.
Stand there for them and sell stuff. I will do that.
Yeah, I was gonna say he is going to be helping, because I may be going by myself to first. So.
And there's a lot of great comments here.
Go indie calendar, and
it's just
Joe having coffee, Joe pounding tacos.
Wow, that could be like, talk about like triple entendre right there.
All right, I don't even know where to go with that. Right. A lot of the work we do is not seen or physical.
No, we broke Joe.
Oh, that's awesome, JD. JD is an inspiration. Yes, that so rocks. Your brain lies to you. Yep. So true. Ignore the brain. Listen to the Jonesy.
I mean, that's a life motto right there.
Yep. Listen to your fans. JD's fucking amazing, and his books are so damn good. I had one of his guy thoughts written on my office window for a year. Oh. There you go. And there's a lot of love going around. Oh no.
I'm pounding tacos.
If you think American Pie was good.
Rebecca and I are totally on the same wavelength. As soon as that came out of JD's mouth, I was like, oh.
Yes.
All right. Well, this has been.
I want to add in. Sorry, Joe. I'm intruding just a little bit. If you guys want to bring Joe some gifts and visit him at Multiverse, I mean, we are going to be celebrating his big, was it 5-0? Mm-hmm. Right? So, yeah.
Yes. So exciting.
Yes.
We can go to El Azteca to pound taco.
We will. Believe me, we will.
I'm just gonna bring Joe taco shells. Happy birthday, Joe!
That wavelength is in the gutter. I approve. All right. So I just want to say thank you so much for what has been 50th birthday swag. Yes. What has been a wonderful, wonderful season of This Week in Indies. We went a lot longer than we normally have, and really appreciative. I'm super appreciative to the woman to my right on the screen. Maddie stepped up and did a lot of the hosting this year, and she deserves a lot of credit. And she's planned all of these things you see here. She does the intros and plans all of that. She does that, everybody. So, and we have conversations daily about what we're going to do and how we're going to do it. And I hope that each and every one of these people here you see, I mean, Courtney's hosted before and JD's hosted before, but David and Venessa, you are always welcome to host This Week in Indies if you so inclined. And I really appreciate each and every one of you so much. You guys contribute so much. All right, enough.
It will never be enough. There is no bar.
I appreciate each and every one of you for being here and doing that, and even the chat and their taco talk. I really appreciate it, and it's been a wonderful season. Let's go around and tell everybody where they can find you all. And yes, it's been a delightful, dirty show for sure.
It's because Maddie's on it. That's why. It's always low.
You didn't bring it up though. I'm the smut writer, and you guys always bring it up.
I mean,
It's
I
just
don't
your
write
presence.
smut, so
Maddie finishes up because after all the smut and after all the gutter, we have to take a shower.
Yeah, or go to the gym. All right, Madilynn, you want to start us off? Since I got you
You guys, so I did mention earlier all the things I do. Because I've got more services out there now. I'm now proofreading, doing copy edits and whatnot. You can check out all my new services on my website, as well as find all my books from the steamy to the not so steamy. All of them are there. Short stories. You've got links to all of my socials because I have downgraded how many social platforms I am on because it was too much. But I'm on Instagram, Facebook, and Pinterest and TikTok. So yeah. And obviously here a lot because Go Indie Now's the bomb. We're always doing fun stuff here. It's always a good time.
Okay. Thank you so much. All right, Venessa?
you can find me wrong way. This way? This way. I was like, which way? But I still messed it up. So right there, you can find all my links to all my stuff. I also run the Writing Tribe, which is a writerly support group on Facebook and Discord. You can find that by searching for TWT, and it shows up as I think the first group. So that's how you can find me in those places.
Get there fast because it's going to go through a metamorphosis, everybody, pretty soon.
We're going to be changing our name, but that's okay. It'll be great.
Yeah, so go and find it. Get involved in right now. So get there. All right, David?
You can find me at www.davidgreenwriter.com. I have a new book out on September 18th, which will be the last one in this series here, which is the Empire of Ruin series. They all get progressively quite a bit bigger. The next one
I was going to say that new one is probably as big as those three right there.
They're totally awesome.
Hopefully awesome, yeah. It's out on September 18th. And actually, I'll be looking forward to be doing some work with Courtney over the summer as well. I'm really looking forward to that. So, that is what I'll be doing. And there'll be some Green Room as well on the Go Indie Now network.
Yeah, how about the 21st, David, which is just 4 days away, 5 days away.
Yes.
We have our next episode on the 21st, everybody.
The 21st. Yes.
All right, JD.
Greetings, fellow humans. If you're tuning now or later, you're in the right place. If you're indie or just want to get indie or just want, to enjoy some random talk. My name is JD Estrada. Look for JD Estrada Writer wherever platforms are sold.
Wherever writers are sold.
No.
Wherever tacos are sold.
Where tacos are sold. If you like tacos but want to go a little bananas, go to my channel. I have to do more double O bananas videos, but it's just, again, you can't do all the things. I got 21 books out, but I will highlight this one. This is the kindest book I've written so far. It is a middle grade short story collection. It's set in the world of Dream. There is no violence. It's all kindness. It's funny because I released the darkest, most messed up thing I've written to date, and then I wrote this, and this is just it's a hug in a book. I highly recommend it, if only to stroke my ego. And yeah, you'll be seeing more from me and reading more from me, because something that I enjoy doing also for the Go Indie Network is writing music and video game reviews so that we can share fresh butter popcorn vlog. That is a mouthful and then some, but that goes with taco talk.
Yeah, popcorn and tacos. Yeah,
I was thinking
the ultimate comfort food.
I'd eat both of those things.
But together.
I mean, I'd try it.
Taco flavored popcorn, maybe.
We gotta do a Tasty Tuesday for Go Indie Now, trying everyone that.
Yeah.
That's what you gotta do. You gotta put some taco seasoning on your popcorn. And try that, JD.
Yes.
Tasty Tuesday.
It'd be awesome.
And then curse at us when it all goes the way it's supposed to go, I think.
We'll see.
All right, Courtney.
You can find me at this thing I can never point to, my link in bio, or clcanon.net or fictionatlas.com. I am on like all the social medias except for Snapchat, which I will never be on. And I still have the anthology that's coming out. You can get in by the 31st by going to fiction-atlas.com and going to publishing, and you'll find the open call there. Sometimes I write fantasy and sci-fi stuff. You can find that on clcanon.net. And I can't wait to be back on next season of Go Indie Now, because it's always fun.
Yes.
And it's always time to go indie now.
Yes.
All right. And I'm Joe Compton, everybody. I'm here most of the time. Go Indie Now. You found us. Congratulations. Do all the things. Smash the like button, subscribe, do comment, share. Please do all of that for us. We really appreciate it. We've got a lot of great shows going on. We just started a new show. We're going full indie now, everybody, because I myself and Brian Tan have started an indie wrestling conversation show, which has been really a lot of fun. Something that he and I have been talking about doing for a while. So that's up there. We've got a couple episodes of that going on. We do have the green room coming. We got more conversations and cocktails coming this summer. And then the next fall, we have a lot of great stuff, including a change we're making to This Week in Indies that you're just going to have to wait till September to hear more about. Yes, I am the ultimate tease, and you're just gonna have to wait. We're going to end on that cliffhanger for this Week in Indies for this season. Thank you so much. I really appreciate each and every one of you, and I'm not going to post that last comment, Rebecca. I'm sorry. And remember that it is always time to go indie now.